Welcome back to the Top Gun podcast. We're glad to have you here. We got a great episode for you guys today. We had a lot of fun with this episode. We got into some cleared for takeoff, grounded situations, which are kind of funny and debatable. And then we got into a big three conversation about the most iconic jerseys of all time. You got to tell us what we left out or what we didn't catch or what you think about our picks. And then from there, we get into the NFL. We go around the preseason games, talk about the Browns, spend some time in their quarterback controversies, and then hit up some Guardians and Buckeyes. And we may or may not talk about the team up north for a little bit. But other than that, we have a great episode. We're glad you tuned in. Stick with us. It's a good one. Here we go. All right, gentlemen, welcome back. Great week of sports. I mean, anytime you get a bunch of football, and we have a lot to look forward to next week with upcoming. I mean, we're 10 days away from the Buckeyes playing, and we got week 3 of the preseason coming up, and a lot of football is going to be played that actually might look like a dress rehearsal for some teams. But yeah, I thought we had a good week of sports, so I think we're gonna have a lot to talk about. But trying to make this episode a little bit light to start. So let's start. Anybody have the funniest thing they saw in sports so far? Anybody have anything?
Yeah, I have something pretty funny. So, I mean, well, the situation's not very funny, but I'm sure you guys know that BYU lost their starting quarterback
Correct.
in kind of a unfortunate situations. You know, he didn't quite follow the rules on the BYU campus.
Right.
But his replacement, who's officially won the quarterback battle, is true freshman Bear Bachmeyer, and his quarterback number that he's going to be wearing is number 47, which is awesome. We were talking about it last week with the kickers wearing weird numbers, but I feel like a starting college quarterback wearing number 47 is awesome.
It's like a long snapper.
Yeah, a fullback or something.
Yeah. Go ahead, Giovanni.
All right, so for the NFL funniest moments of the week, I got Giants rookie Abdul Carter's welcome to the NFL moment. Rookie linebacker Abdul Carter, a high draft pick, was brutally flattened in a preseason game against the Jets, quickly becoming a viral meme. This moment served as a humongous reminder that even top prospects face challenges and learning curves in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah, he got humbled real quick. He
it was
got planted.
Pancaked.
Yeah. That didn't look good for the Giants because when you waste all that capital, I guess, draft space on somebody like that doesn't look good when you take a dive like that.
Well, and it happened twice. He got laid down by the tight end, and then while he was trying to get up, whoever that guard was just put him down again. It's crazy.
Yeah. No, that was pretty hysterical. Well, I didn't really have anything. I have a couple of things that we can definitely talk about and debate here before we get into kind of the NFL and the Browns and kind of the around the area sports or the things that we follow. But let's get into our grounded or cleared for takeoff. I'll start that since I didn't have anything in the other stuff. I have for grounded. That's gonna be us, boys. We're grounded.
Okay. The Top Gun podcast?
Top Gun podcast has been grounded. Do you want to know why?
Why are we grounded?
You just have to wait and see. Here, I'm gonna have to pull this up real quick. See if I can find these numbers again. Give me a second. Thought I had them all laid out. Might not. All right. So as a podcast, we strive for entertaining our viewers and acquiring viewership and, just kind of shooting the breeze. Well, our numbers aren't really comparable to what some other podcasts have been doing lately. Namely one New Heights podcast. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but they had a kind of a live stream. I don't know. They had some important people on it.
Yeah, I saw this.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive what their numbers were. I mean, historic. You guys probably, if you watched it or tuned in, then you witnessed some history there.
Yeah.
Live. They had 1.3 million viewers live, which is insane. Within the first
Ridiculous.
16 hours, they had 10 million views. And then views the next day. So 24 hours later, they had another 10 million views. So they had 20.
It's the Swifties. It's the Swifties.
20 million
They're taking
views.
over.
Boom. Well, I mean, they played it right. I mean, we got to find us a Taylor Swift. We got to get a record drop. We are currently grounded.
We got to do like a.
They're Spotify listeners. They're the number one podcast on Apple. They are the number one podcast on Spotify. Their listeners went up 3,000%. And the Spotify female listenership went up 618%.
Gosh.
So subscriber growth, they gained 60,000 followers that night.
You know what we got to do? I know there's only 3 of us. We need to start a barbershop quartet and start singing. That's how we get the views.
Yeah, a barbershop quartet. You think people would tune in for that?
You said we needed to get a record.
I don't know. I think we just need somebody kind of famous to be on here or something. Let me know if you guys know anybody famous that'll come drop some information to the viewers. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's my grounded. My cleared for takeoff is well, it's actually kind of a second grounded. I didn't have much as far as clear for takeoff. Clear for takeoff was New Heights podcast. Let's be honest, it wasn't really. We're kind of grounded, but they're soaring. Let's just put it that way. I had another grounded, and it was Shedeur Sanders' leadership. So if you remember 2 weeks ago, Shedeur Sanders got in trouble for speeding, right?
Yeah.
And so based on his example, what did Myles Garrett just go out and do?
Speeding again.
Yeah, he's a poor leader. I would say Shedeur Sanders is he's already failing as a quarterback there. He's got to be a leader on and off the field. So Shedeur Sanders, not a good leader. All right, you guys are up.
For clear for takeoff, I'm going to say Jackson Dart because he did really good against the Jets defense last night. He had 2 touchdowns. He came in for Russell Wilson, and he led his team to a victory. So clear for takeoff, I gotta say, is Jackson Dart. I think he'll be the next franchise quarterback when Russell Wilson leaves the Giants next year.
Yeah, that's a good choice right there. For cleared for takeoff, I have the Seattle Seahawks for kind of whooping on the Chiefs. That might just be my inner Chiefs hater talking, but I thought they had a pretty good game against the Chiefs. I mean, even though, it's the preseason, people are just trying people out, but Drew Lock was balling out, and we know what Drew Lock can do from his time on the Broncos. I guess, but yeah, I just thought it was a great game. Like they put it all together, and the Seahawks, what's his name? The Seahawks punter, he did a good job. Michael Dixon. Mm. He had some monster punts that game. So my clear for takeoff is the Seattle Seahawks.
Good. Anybody got grounded?
I do have a grounded. My grounded is it's gonna be Hendon Hooker with the Detroit Lions. He's been on this team for a few years, but he's not been able to. I mean, he showed it last night in the second half of that game against the Dolphins, that he just showed that he was not able. He was not able, and he hasn't been able to perform, at a high level. And it was, at the end of the game to close that game, that interception that he threw. It wasn't entirely his fault, but I mean, it was a great athletic play by whoever intercepted it. But I didn't like what I saw from Hendon Hooker, so I have to say that he's grounded.
Giovanni, got anybody? Anything?
Dylan Gabriel, because what on earth is that quote right there?
Yeah. Yeah, in case you guys missed it, Dylan Gabriel came out and said that, in football at the quarterback position, we have entertainers and competitors. And I know I'm just out here basically paraphrasing to be a competitor. And so that kind of seemed like a shot at somebody who's quite the entertainer who may also be competing for the quarterback position in Cleveland. Maybe some drama.
Yeah.
Might be.
It's
not a good
trouble
look.
Trouble in paradise for
Yeah,
those two.
I don't know if we're in paradise quite yet.
I was gonna say I don't think Cleveland's quite paradise.
All right. Well, good. So there's our clear for takeoff and grounded. All right. So I know we sat down collectively as a group and we decided that we wanted to do something else, have a little fun outside of just sports information and reporting. And we decided we're going to do kind of like a ranking. We're going to call it the Big Three. And so between the three of us, what we decided we are going to do is we are going to pick the most iconic jerseys of all time. Okay. Now, jerseys, right? Not uniforms.
Yeah, I would say just the jersey.
Okay.
Because the uniform, I mean, like that kind of implies, like with basketball, the shorts, baseball, pants, and the hat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Same with football with the helmet.
Okay.
So.
Okay, jersey. Okay.
I just had jerseys.
If we do like an honorable mention at the end, stuff that we left out, then maybe I'll share with you why I asked that question. I know that we kind of debated this and threw it around, and we'll probably do some more of these later on. As far as best, like our favorite jerseys, and we can have people rank them and say if they agree with us or not. And you guys feel free to let us know whatever we miss or what we left out, what you think should be in the top. I guess what would end up being 9 of the most iconic jerseys of all time. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a snake draft where Giovanni is going to start, and then it'll go to me. Cooper will get 2, and then it'll come back to me. Giovanni will get 2, so on and so forth, if you've ever seen a snake draft. So, Giovanni, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Pick one.
The Toronto Raptors, the little raptor dinosaur on the jersey. I think those are really
cool. The purple
cool.
Raptor, Vince Carter, those jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
That's a solid pick. I like those jerseys.
That's a good pick.
That is a good pick.
That's one of my favorite NBA jerseys, I would have to say.
Yeah, for sure. I won't divulge too much because I don't want to give anything away here. I went kind of with the iconic route. I said that to be an icon is going to be more of something that transcends sports. Like you would see your average person walking down the street wearing this, right? That would be more iconic, right? So this is tough because Cooper's going to get 2 picks after me. I'm going to go with the Yankees pinstripes.
Oh my gosh, dude! No, that's so annoying. That was my next pick. Was the pinstripe Yankees jerseys.
The Yankees have been wearing pinstripes since 1913.
Right.
I mean, and everybody knows the white and navy blue pinstripes. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I was going that same route with the iconic.
Iconic, yep.
So I might just have to roll through my next 3 and then go to my next 2.
I was gonna say don't say your third.
Go to an alternate. So with my first pick, I'm going with another one of those like iconic jerseys. You can see someone rocking this and they don't even watch basketball. It's a basketball jersey. I'm going with the Chicago Bulls red jersey. Yep. I mean, I feel like that's
especially if you throw a 23 on there.
Yeah, with what Michael Jordan did in the 80s and 90s, you're gonna see so many people wearing those. Then with my next pick,
that was my number 2.
Okay. So with my next pick, this one might be a little bit controversial, but I try to put together both the the looks and the iconic, and I feel like this one really like defined an era. I have the Nolan Ryan era Houston Astros jerseys with
Yeah.
the rays on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like not like rays, but the
Yeah, I mean, I
lines
know what
of
you're talking about. The
yeah.
red, the yellow, the orange,
Yeah.
horizontal striping. Yeah.
Yeah. I said that because I feel like it kind of just like defines that era of
Mm-hmm.
baseball for
Sure.
the Astros, and
Yeah.
it also looks really, really clean.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
that was my
when you see people wearing jerseys like that, even if it's a different color scheme, you would say they're wearing the Astros jerseys.
yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
and really nobody's piggybacked off that in any pro sports. I would say the only other team might be the Denver Nuggets wearing those rainbow ones
Yeah. The
in the
with this like
90s, early 90s. Yeah,
and yeah. But that's my next pick. That's my second pick there.
gotcha. Okay, so back to me. Oh, you leave me in a tough spot now. I'm going to go with I'm going to go with the Dodgers. The Dodgers white with the script
Yeah.
Dodgers. I must be sticking with baseball here. I mean, Sandlot, right? Benny the Jet Rodriguez, like everybody wants to have that blue Dodgers uniform. I don't know.
That's where my mind was going, for my third, but
Right.
not anymore.
All right, Giovanni, to you.
I'm going with the Houston Oilers jerseys.
That's a good one.
The Houston Oilers. Those are classics. Those are classics. You got two. You got another one?
The Green Bay Packers green and gold uniform during the Vince Lombardi era, symbolizing the team's rich heritage.
Yeah. Yeah, those are iconic. I don't think there's any other team that uses that color scheme. Yellow and green. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Not pro sports, but
Sonics, maybe.
yeah, Seattle SuperSonics.
They're not even a team anymore.
The Seattle Storm, that's what's currently in Seattle for the WNBA.
Right.
But my mind, I'm not gonna lie, when I thought of green and yellow, I thought of Wilberforce, which is HBCU in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And fun fact, this is kind of an interjection, but they officially are sponsored by like And One. Their school sponsor is And One. So that just popped into my head.
Gotcha. All right. Well, let's see. Back to me. And then Cooper's got one. Do I stay? No. Let's go with iconic. Let's go with the Lakers. The Lakers yellow and purple script jerseys.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yep.
Good one.
Yeah, the gold with the purple script.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, that carries through all generations. They have all worn that.
Right.
It's like the same as the Yankees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it transcends an individual player. Like when you see a Lakers jersey, you don't just think, oh, Kobe. You think Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, now LeBron, right?
Shaq.
Jerry West.
Shaq.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. All right.
Last one, Cooper.
Okay.
Irrelevant.
All right.
Mr. Irrelevant.
I'm thinking with my last pick, I'm gonna have to go with Eagles Kelly Green jerseys because they've brought those back, and now when I see the Kelly Green, I don't go to like Randall Cunningham or Reggie White. I think of sometimes like Saquon Barkley because he hit the backwards hurdle in the Kelly Greens.
Right.
And so, and like, it has its own color name. Like you don't like other teams, like for example, the 49ers, do they have a name for that red? Like the Eagles, I feel like not only are they like iconic jerseys, but they have a pretty iconic name as well, the Kelly Greens. So that's my last pick.
Yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one. All right. Let's do honorable mention here real quick. Do you guys have anything that we didn't say on your list?
Yeah, I have two other jerseys that I wanted to mention, I guess. Where my first jersey that I wanted to mention was the Detroit Pistons 98 99
The dark
with
green
the
ones?
uh yeah, the dark green with the horse on it.
Mm-hmm.
I have the white one. I have one of the white ones.
Yeah.
Grant Hill.
Yeah.
It's just sitting back there. But I like those jerseys a lot. And the other one that I wanted to talk about was the creamsicle jerseys for the
Oh,
Buccaneers. Or that's the one I want to talk about because just like with the Kelly Green, they have their own, like it has its own color nickname. And
Yeah.
so I feel like the creamsicle jerseys are very iconic.
Yeah.
Those are
Giovanni?
my two like honorable
I
mentions.
had that pick in my mind.
Right.
Cooper. Well, I'm gonna have to say, I know it's just been last season, but I'm gonna say the Cleveland Cavaliers baby blue jerseys.
Those were sweet.
Yeah, I think these baby blue jerseys was really good, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like those a lot. And
Yep.
like the story behind them is really cool as
Yeah,
well.
it was. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go through my list. I had a lot, and I had a lot that we didn't mention. But I tried to pick my most iconic. Ohio State. I mean,
Yeah.
they're scarlet reds with the helmet, and you kind of mentioned that it wasn't the helmet; it was more the jersey. But yeah, Ohio
Yeah,
State scarlet red.
I feel like we should do one where we do like the best. We could even do the best looking, but like the
Yeah,
whole uniform because there's a lot where a lot of like kits where it kind of just it hinges on that helmet looking good or not. Like I feel like the Rams and the Chargers,
yeah,
like their helmets are kind of what I don't want to say what sells it, but they're both really good.
yeah.
And yeah,
Cowboys, kind of in the same, like the star. It all hinges on the star. Uh, but yeah, it's one of those iconic pieces of a uniform because I mean everybody knows what that navy blue star is and where it comes from. Notre Dame, the golden helmets, but again, it's the helmets. That's kind of why I stayed away from that. UNC's university blue jerseys. I mean, they literally have their own
that's a
color.
good one.
They have their own color as well, and that's
Yeah,
it's mainly because of Jordan as well. The Celtics green,
yeah.
a Red Wings jersey. So I went hockey.
Oh yeah,
Like the
yeah.
Red Wings, Detroit Red
That's
Wings, I feel like is a very iconic jersey. With
yeah,
the red and white. Um, Brazil soccer,
yeah.
the yellow with the
They
blue
have
shorts,
some of the best
very
like
iconic.
uniforms in the world
Again,
in the World Cup.
also over 100 years old. And
Yeah,
then I said Argentina soccer as well with the vertical blue
the blue
stripes.
stripes.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
yeah. So those were my
There's so
most
many good
iconic.
jerseys out there.
Yeah.
There's too many good jerseys.
Well, and that's kind of that's why I asked you guys so specifically is like, are we doing
Yeah.
iconic or ones that we think just look the best?
Yeah, I feel like if it was the ones that looked the best, I think I
My
might
list
have
would have
had
been different. Yeah,
definitely
for sure.
my list
I
definitely
mean,
would have been different.
Giovanni's like Toronto Raptors jersey, absolutely. Like the Denver Nuggets, that rainbow jersey, I think that one's a cool one.
Yeah, I feel like especially for maybe not as much with actually yeah, I would say with other sports as well, like with baseball and basketball, anything in the 90s and early 2000s is so I don't know if it's like the nostalgia of looking at it or what,
Yeah,
but I feel like it just looks better than other
they're
jerseys.
retro now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. All right. I thought that was a pretty good list. We did a good job,
Yeah.
boys. We did a good job. So.
All right, folks, what I'm going to do for you is break down the NFL games this week. We're going to start backwards Friday, work our way all the way up to, well, the current game that's being played is the Bengals and the Washington Commanders. So I'll give you an update about the time we end this segment. So we started off on Friday. We have the Titans playing the Falcons. The Titans won 23-20. Not a whole lot happened. There wasn't a whole lot of big names that showed up and showed out. So we'll kind of move on from that game. The Chiefs and the Seahawks. Now that game was a show up and show out for the Seahawks, and that's 2 in a row for the Chiefs. Now, mind you, they are the Chiefs, and Patrick Mahomes didn't play, but Drew Lock played very well for the Seahawks. I know Sam Darnold is going to be their number one. He's the one that's getting paid, but they have a nice backup in Drew Lock with 10 completions for 12, or 10 out of 12 completions for 2 touchdowns. But yeah, the Seahawks looked okay. They looked okay in this game. The Browns, we'll get to them here in a little bit, but I did just kind of want to mention that Gabriel did look decent, and their defense showed up and showed out. So we'll get to that here in a little bit. Cardinals and the Broncos. I got to say, as a Broncos fan, that I think that Denver looks pretty good. I mean, they have some depth to their depth chart. They had several wide receivers who were not Cortland Sutton or Marvin Mims or even Evan Ingram, who did play well. But, they got Pat Bryant and Franklin and some of these other guys who will really add some depth to their lineup. And I think that the biggest thing for the Denver Broncos is going to be, for me personally, is going to be if J.K. Dobbins can play, if he stays healthy, and if Bo Nix does not hit his sophomore slump, which it sounds like the defense will do their part. As long as Bo Nix can take care of the ball, they might do okay. Jarrett Stidham looked like a stud, slinging it around for 240 yards and 2 touchdowns. So the team overall looked good. Dolphins and Lions. The Lions are kind of hitting this little skid. They've gotten a little bit better. There's some improvements from the first game of the preseason, but as far as the Lions go, there is not a lot of depth to their depth chart. There are a lot of guys who are trying to compete for positions, and a lot of guys who are starters who didn't play. But those guys competing for positions have not played very well up to this point. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Lions. If they can stay healthy, they'll be good. But it's not looking good if they lose 1 or 2 players, kind of like they did at the end of last year. So hopefully next week when they do their tune-up that Jared Goff comes out and shows out for a little bit. Maybe they get some reps and to guys like David Montgomery or Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown. But I don't expect them to play them a whole lot, but it would be nice to see them kind of gel together as a team. Next game was Packers-Colts. Packers won 23-19. And again, not much to look back on. Anthony Richardson, the battle between Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones. No one really cleared themselves. There was no separation here. So I think, in my opinion, that always goes to the person who's more seasoned, more of the veteran on that team and might know the playbook a little bit better. So I think as of right now, Anthony Richardson has a little bit of an edge, but they still have one more game to go. It'll be interesting to see who wins that one. And as far as the Packers, Jordan Love did look a little bit better. I know he had finger surgery recently and did not play. So I will be interested to see if he looks better here in these upcoming games. They did not say it was like a season-ending injury or anything that they need to be worried about. So the Packers should be able to count on him come game 1. Patriots and Vikings. Not much to take away from this one either. I don't think that there's as much of a quarterback battle as I said last week. Sam Howell did not look very good. And that was what I was kind of alluding to, was that Sam Howell was giving J.J. McCarthy a run for his money. But I will say from this game, the one thing I did take away is that Trevion Henderson does indeed look like a stud. That he looks like somebody who could make a name for himself and could possibly be in the running for Rookie of the Year. The next game is going to be Carolina at the Texans. And C.J. Stroud looked like he showed up and showed out as well, connecting on a really nice touchdown pass to Nico Collins. So it's nice to see that he still has some weapons. I know they've battled some injuries on the wide receiver front, and even some inconsistencies in the running back room. So I know he hit a sophomore slump, but CJ Stroud's one of those guys you kind of go in rooting for. The Texans, they're not a big market team, so it is nice to see them doing well. I really hope that they can make a push here in the playoffs, and I'll be interested to see if Tank Dell can make a recovery. But they definitely are a fun team to watch, and I think that they could make a run, especially in the AFC South. That there's definitely a chance for them in that division. Next game was 49ers at the Raiders. The 49ers took that one, but I would say the biggest thing to come away from this game is that Ashton Genty did not look like a bust in this game. He actually looked pretty good, running over a couple guys and getting in for a touchdown. So Ashton Genty, he may have saved himself some fantasy points there as far as a lot of you going into the draft here in the upcoming weeks. The next game was the Ravens beat the Cowboys 31-13. Cooper Rush came in against his old team, did pretty good, threw for almost 200 yards and a touchdown. But the Ravens winning streak during the preseason continues. It's pretty amazing. I don't know if they give a trophy for that or not, but can always count on the Ravens to win in the preseason. Next game is the Chargers and the Rams. Nothing really to be too concerned about in the game. However, I would say there's probably a quarterback problem. Matt Stafford has not looked very healthy. He's got some back issues. They're trying all kinds of stuff, some voodoo magic on him, laying on this glass table in some RV off the field. It's not looking good. He hasn't touched a ball for the most part yet. I'm sure he's sitting in on the classroom work, but last night they threw Stetson Bennett for 40 passes, 320 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That doesn't look like they are. They're testing out Stetson Bennett because they think they are probably going to have to play him right off the grip. So, we'll be interested to see what happens with Matt Stafford here in these upcoming days. I like Matt Stafford, but he's getting up there. I think he's 39, 38. So, as far as football goes, he's a hard-nosed Bulldog player, so I'm sure he's been beat up pretty good over the years. Jets and Giants. The Giants whooped the Jets. Jackson Dart looked pretty good. Jackson Dart slung the ball around as well, 14 for 16, 137 yards and a touchdown. And if I'm Russell Wilson, I'm genuinely concerned because this kid looks like he could be the future. So they very well could, if things don't go the way they want them to, and it's the Giants, I could see Jackson Dart getting some substantial playing time at some point this year. These last couple games, he hasn't looked too bad. So Jackson Dart is a guy to watch here in these next couple weeks. The Buccaneers beat the Steelers at Pittsburgh. Not a whole lot to take away from here, but as a Buckeyes fan, I got to say Emeka Egbuka, it adds to the list with Travion Henderson as guys to watch for Rookie of the Year. He's a gamer, man. Which is even more exciting as a Buckeyes fan is that he was the number 2 wide receiver to Jeremiah Smith. It just puts Jeremiah Smith into another category there. But Emeka Egbuka is this fundamental, surgical. He's going to run good routes, and it's going to kind of complement the Buccaneers, especially since they have kind of an older wide receiver room. It's a good wide receiver room, but you eventually going to be losing Hall of Famer in Mike Evans, and some of those guys were beat up last year. Chris Godwin's coming off of an ACL injury, so Emeka Egbuka is a big pickup for them. Jaguars Saints, nothing really going on here. As far as the Saints quarterback battle, Spencer Rattler didn't really do anything to hurt himself, and Slow didn't really do anything to help himself. So I'd say those two are pretty neck and neck as far as the quarterback battle there, which again, if you refer back to what I was talking about before, the quarterback who's probably been in the system longer, who understands the coach, who understands his players, is probably going to win that battle. And so I would say as of right now, the edge goes to Spencer Rattler. But I know as coming in as a rookie, you always have that question mark that if the veteran who knows the playbook can't get it done, send it in the new gun. And then finally, the Bears looked tough last night. They whooped up on the Bills, skunked them 38-0.
Rome Odunze looks good. Caleb Williams looks good. I mean, it's just, I think that new coach, new offense, new weapons. The Bears might give some people a run. And I think we mentioned it last week that the Packers should be worried. The Packers very well could fall to the bottom of the NFC North, and that would be very interesting. You have a good team in Minnesota, you have a good team in Detroit, and now if you have a good team in Chicago, what used to be a playoff hopeful in the Packers and signing their playoff quarterback could be a problem. So interested to see where that goes. As a update on the Bengals game, we have the Commanders 14, Bengals 7, going toward the end of the first quarter here. But let's see if Joe Burrow, my hope was that he played a little bit, and he did. He was in for one drive, 2 for 5 for 12 yards, which isn't a whole lot, but at the same time, get Joe Burrow some reps, man. I'd hate to see him come out sluggish. Chase Brown looked good, 5 carries for 16 yards and a touchdown. And Jamar Chase, 1 reception for 11 yards. So the Bengals might be tough week 1 if they get this figured out early. So, all right, let's talk about some Browns. All right, let's talk about the Browns. Now, Cooper, you're a Lions fan. I was born and raised a Broncos fan, but we both live here in the great state of Ohio, and we are surrounded by the Browns and the lore that is the Browns. Giovanni, I know you're a diehard, and so you have a little bit more emotion behind a lot of this, whereas we might come at it a little more level-headed. But it's always fun to talk about the Browns, only because the Browns are, well, the Browns. They're 2-0 in the preseason. They look great. You know what really looks great? Their defense.
Absolutely.
And their special teams. I mean, they look amazing. You know what else looks great? Their quarterback room, which is pretty funny because they have 6 of them. I mean, Tyler Huntley does not look bad. Tyler Huntley's going to find, if they end up cutting him when Watson comes back, he's going to find himself on a team. No problem. He could fill in and win a couple games. He's definitely better than DTR. Man, he got lit up in that game. Here's the thing though is, well, let's talk about Gabriel first. I thought Gabriel did really good, honestly. Like, I know he had the interception that went back for a touchdown, and I honestly think you have the two, as you watch that on replay over and over and over again, because that's what they do, is they just break down everything that they do wrong. It looked to me like the 2 wide receivers came together. Neither one of them wanted the ball, and it just
then he
went
just
right in
snuck
between
through.
them. I mean, they both could have stuck their hands out and grabbed that ball.
But then they let whoever corner that was just sneak right between them. And
I'm not going to put that one on Gabriel.
No, I feel like that was just kind of not a great situation to begin with.
And the handoff that they botched for the fumble, which is the other thing that people are going to talk about, is the handoff. Any kind of turnover is going to get talked about. It actually looked like the running back didn't know what the play was. To me, it looked like the running back was running to set a block.
Yeah.
And he wasn't ready to get the ball.
That was Pierre Strong, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I thought when I was.
Who had a good game.
Yeah, he had a great game.
He had a good game.
13 for 89.
Mm-hmm.
That's an average of almost 7 yards a carry.
That's strong.
And that's Pierre Strong.
Yeah, Pierre Strong.
And that's good. That's reassuring, because that's one of the things that, was not one of the huge areas of confidence, for the Browns going into the preseason, because no Nick Chubb, and it's kind of, you kind of think of it as a weak running back room, but I mean, I feel like Pierre Strong, and then Amani Marshall, he had a good game too, 6 for 25, and better news on top of that, Quinshon Judkins.
Yeah,
they dismissed all his stuff.
We'll get that. We'll get to that. But
Giovanni, what are your thoughts on the
Okay.
Browns quarterback room? So last week we talked about, do you even let Dylan Gabriel do a whole lot because his draft stock might go down? I mean, right now you know where it's at, but now you're looking at like, okay, Dylan Gabriel can't compete at the NFL level. What do you do with him, Giovanni?
I don't know, to be honest. I just don't know. You got Shador, which he played great last preseason game against the Panthers. But I honestly think that Shador played even better than Gabriel because I know Gabriel had a good game, but at the same time, Shador can do everything.
Yeah.
Like he throw out the pocket well. He can throw well, but Gabriel with a small size like me almost, I honestly don't know. But if I'm the Browns GM, I would probably um still cut a quarterback before the regular season starts. I don't know who though. That's kind of difficult.
Yeah. I mean, you can't keep all six.
Yeah, you can't.
Um, I mean, they don't have to worry about Watson right now because of the pup list, but so it's technically five.
Yeah,
But,
5.
keep trade cut. Who you keeping? Who you cutting? Who you trading? Because I feel like you can't keep three good quarterback. I mean, nobody's gonna want Joe Flacco unless their quarterback goes down. So Joe Flacco is ours. And
Yeah,
we're only paying him for 1 year, so it is what it is with that.
And honestly, well, at least for me with Joe Flacco, like we have yet to see him play this whole year,
Right.
and we have seen, Dylan Gabriel come out and be a great facilitator. He's thriving in what he was doing against the Eagles, and you see um Shadur come out and he's making the big plays. He's throwing, rolling out of the pocket, and he's doing what he needs to do. And I feel like even though Dylan Gabriel, he doesn't even run like that. He definitely has more mobility than Joe Flacco, and Shadur definitely has more mobility than Joe Flacco. So
Yeah.
I think this might even come down to, do they play Joe Flacco the next preseason game? I know he's old and fragile and whatnot, but
Right.
they if they want to see who's really going to be the quarterback out of these, I know it's really only five, but it's a six quarterback room.
Yeah, I mean,
And
eventually,
so,
maybe halfway through the season, they're gonna have to get rid of another one.
yeah,
yeah.
Somebody. So you gotta know what your plan is going into that as well. If you plan on taking Watson off the pup list. So um ESPN Cleveland does break down like what they've done, like almost like a depth chart breakdown. And they post it every day. But it's the QB tracker throughout practice. And I guess when it's as big of a controversy as it is for us who live in Ohio, and all of us who, are diehard Browns backers. Um, so Flacco is about 91 for 51 with 6 touchdowns throughout practice. And that's probably one of the worst stat lines. But not because he hasn't got a lot of passes, just because he hasn't thrown a lot of touchdowns. Now, no interceptions, which is, what it is you know what you're getting with Joe Flacco. Shedeur Sanders is 70 for 100, which is about the same as far as percentage wise. And then he's thrown 8 touchdowns. And he's playing with third team, right? Joe Flacco's taking all the reps with first team. Kenny Pickett is 42 for 56. I know the last week he sat out. This last week, he was on the week before, off the week before that. So, his hammy just keeps flaring up. So he hasn't got a lot of looks, but he's also thrown 8 touchdowns with far less chances. But 42 for 56, that's pretty accurate. So Kenny Pickett's looking pretty good. Um, Now Dylan Gabriel's only at about 50% completion. He's got the most passes, 87 for 160, but 11 touchdowns. So he's winning the touchdown battle, losing the interception battle, and probably has the worst completion percentage. So I mean, I don't know. At this point, like, Flacco, I would say Flacco's a guaranteed. He's not moving. He's
yeah.
probably going to be your day one starter just to make sure everything goes the way it's supposed to go. He's played for Kevin Stefanski. He knows the system. He's a seasoned veteran. He's going to make the right decision in the fourth quarter. Because ultimately, if you are in within striking range going into the fourth quarter, Joe Flacco's your guy. It's not going to be Shedeur Sanders to lead a fourth quarter comeback. It's not going to be Kenny Pickett. It's not going to be Dylan Gabriel. So that's who I would want. Now, moving forward, I would say right now Kenny Pickett is on the trading block. Like he has to be on the trading block only because there's no place for him now. Now that Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders have shown they have the athleticism to compete at that level, I would say if Flacco goes down, out, can't do it, whatever it may be, Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel steps right in there. I don't think we need to fill in with a Kenny Pickett. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I honestly think that we should probably trade block Kenny Pickett. We can't even keep 5 quarterbacks in
No.
this roster. So maybe in the mid-season trade deadline, we could trade Kenny Pickett for the better value. But I gotta trade Kenny Pickett.
Well, I'll tell you right now, the Browns are in conversation for Trey Hendrickson. I don't know
The
if they
Panthers and Colts are in rumors of trading him.
right. I don't think they need a backup quarterback. They have what's his name? Remember his girlfriend was like a big controversy. She was wearing like a pantsuit. What was his name? Browning, Jake Browning. That's it.
Oh,
yeah, I don't know. You guys might not remember. It was funny. She wore some crazy outfit the one game he started when Joe Burrow was out, and that was just all they talked about. Not how well he played, but anyway. All right, let's get to. I mean, we already talked about Dylan Gabriel and what he said. I think I personally do. You know, sometimes you don't want to read too much into it. I don't think a rookie would try to cause more controversy. I mean, a rookie doesn't want to put the media more on him. But at the same time, like what he said in that post-game presser, that was interesting. It sounded like it was directly directed at Shedeur. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's just interesting. It's something to keep your eye on for sure. I have a feeling tomorrow they'll probably
Have it all cleared up.
Well, they'll probably say something about it, and they'll probably have Gabriel come out and say something about it. But now Stefanski said that he is going to announce who the day one starter is going to be here within the next couple days, so that they can, dress rehearsal this game 3. So we will know who the starting quarterback for the Browns is this week. So moving forward. Now, on at Cooper's point, he kind of mentioned this or hinted at it. Quinshon Judkins is back. I don't know how fast he's going to work his way back into the lineup. It probably, he's going to have to learn some schemes at least. Like, when we're in this set, here's what you're doing kind of thing. But that is an instant spark plug to that offense. I think that he's going to make a difference. He is a super strong, super fast back. As long as he stays out of trouble, right? More than likely, I would say that all of a sudden the charges are dropped. They drag this out for 2 months. In my professional opinion, she was probably like, how much can you pay me to drop these? And they finally came together on a number, and the charges got dropped. So
yeah, and from what I've seen, even though he will not face any charges, he may still have an NFL suspension or some kind of punishment or fine. And that, well, if it's a suspension, that might be a little problematic for the Browns. But
he's got to get in camp as soon as possible so that the suspension can happen. Because you don't want him sitting out, like being there for games 1 and 2, sitting out games 4 through 8, and then coming back when it doesn't even matter. So you want him to at least help you a little bit there in the beginning, maybe give you a chance on some of those games that we talked about could be a wiggle game, like the Bengals. But yeah. The other one is Isaiah Bond. Giovanni, you want to hit me with that one? I know you got some info on that.
Well, the charges are dropped against Bond, which he was supposed to go in the draft, but he didn't. He went undrafted. But the charges were dropped last week. So 3 months later, or 5 months later, from April to August,
Yeah.
the charges were dropped. He signed a 3-year rookie contract with the Browns. It's surprising for me because rookie players usually sign a 4-year deal with the teams on rookie contracts. But this is a weird contract, a 3-year deal. I guess so, but I'm surprised Isaiah Bond chose us. I mean,
Yeah.
he can run, he's got the speed, but I hope he can catch well.
Yeah. Oh, well, no, he was pretty good with Texas. I mean, he's a stud. I mean, he was supposed to go in the top 2 rounds. So
Yeah.
the fact that he fell completely out of the draft is surprising. So
Yeah, I hope this is gonna work out. I hope this wide receiver will probably save the catching problems. I hope.
well, I mean, yeah, I mean, you add him to Jerry Judy,
Yeah.
Pittman, um, who else? What was it? Thrash. He looked really good the other night. Um,
Caden Davis looked good as well. He had 3 catches for 44 yards against Philly.
yeah. Um, so I mean, you have Njoku who hasn't played yet, but at the same time, I said Pittman. I meant Tillman. Um, they have some athletes. Deontay Johnson's not bad. Um, so I do think that they could, make a little noise. I think that the games before the season started, before preseason started, I think that they did. I didn't think they were going to make much noise at all. Like, these games where they're going to go up against the Lions or teams like that. Like now they're putting some pressure on some of these teams. Like, okay, you got to show up to beat us. It's not a give me. Now they don't have the quite the same Jimmys or Joes as some of the other teams, but I would definitely say there's some dudes on the defense. So um, they're definitely gonna have to score some points to beat them. So all right, boys. Well, anything else on the Browns before we move on?
Um,
I think we covered pretty much everything there. That was a lot.
I don't think so.
Good. Okay. Um, let's talk about the Guardians really quick because I want to end on the Buckeyes. There's a lot going on there. Kind of. Not really, but kind of. Um, the Guardians are tail spinning this week. I'm gonna phrase it as this week because I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. The season's not over. We're still in the middle of August. They still have 6 weeks left to go, but they slipped quite a bit. They went from 6.5 games behind Detroit at the start of the week to 8.5, and now they're 3.5 games back in the wild card. And some of those other teams are starting to catch traction. The Mariners are looking good. The Yankees are starting to look good again, and so playoff hopes are slowly starting to dwindle. Um, but 6 weeks, I mean, it could literally turn around here in this next week. The only problem was they played 2 teams that they should have beat, and they got swept by the Braves at home. So that's kind of tough. Giovanni, you have anything on that? On the
Yeah,
Guardians?
Island series, I think we looked good, but we won 2-1 with them. I mean, we should have swept them, but
Right.
it is. But the Blaze series was probably the worst series that we had because we had Tom Hamilton got into the Guardians Hall of Fame, and we should have honored him with 2 wins last night and tonight. But the Guardians, they had it tonight. They had it today, but they could not get it done. We should have won that Atlanta Braves series with
Yeah.
Tom.
Yeah, that was sad. I
Yeah.
mean, we got our butts kicked by the Braves. I mean, there were a couple games that were just absolute blowouts. So I hope they get it together. There were no new moves. There was nobody getting moved up or down. As far as pitching, everybody's healthy per se. I mean, when you look at the last couple weeks and kind of the run they've made since the All-Star break, it's still the same squad. The only person that's kind of moved up was CJ Kafis, and he's been playing okay, but I don't know. They took a week off. Go ahead, Giovanni.
I still can't believe that the Cleveland Guardians got embarrassed last night, 10-1. That was supposed to be Tom Hamilton's day of a Hall of Fame for the Guardians. But I honestly think that was an embarrassing game.
Yeah.
Not gonna
Yeah, talk about a goat. Tom Hamilton, man. That's like half my childhood. I just remember car trips and we'd be listening to the Indians and you just Tom Hamilton. Jim
and
Tome
I
Jim
don't forget
Tome.
that Guardians versus White Sox game back 2 years ago. That was wild.
Yeah. I mean, you go back and you listen to any of the biggest moments from the Indians or the Guardians history and like from Jim Tome's like that ball that he hit. I still remember vividly like riding in the car and you guys weren't alive, trust me. But Jim Tome Jim Tome hit a home run that literally left the ballpark out center field. And if you've ever been to the Guardians, I mean, they've renovated some stuff, but it hit like the top of a railing and bounced out of the ballpark. And I just remember him just like being baffled and describing it. And then the other one was I actually had the pleasure of being at both of these games. The loudest game ever played in Major League Baseball was the 2017 I want to say it was the ALDS game against the Yankees when Frankie Lindor hit the grand slam. I was at that game, but I made sure to go back and listen to Tom Hamilton's call of that home run just because I knew as it was happening, the stadium's rocking, but I knew that that was an iconic moment and I wanted to hear how Hamilton called it. And then last year when they hit that walk off, David Fry hit the walk off to beat the Yankees in
And
the
I would say, and you were at that one
and
too,
the
weren't you?
ALCS. I was at that one too. I mean, I went back. I mean, the second we got in the car, I'm like, fire up Tom Hamilton. I want to hear how he calls it. So yeah, I was
Had
I'm gonna miss it when
the next day
yeah.
at school, so that was
I
pretty.
know, it was pretty sweet. I'm gonna miss it when he's done. When he steps away from it, that'll be sad. That'll be a sad day. But I'm glad he's going down in multiple Hall of Fames for what he's done for the Guardians and the Indians. So but yeah, as far as the Guardians themselves, they are tail spinning. We're gonna hit refresh. I hope they hit refresh this week. We'll see what happens. But yeah, they struggled this week. It was not good. Um, in terms of catching, making the playoff push. All right, Buckeyes. We're 10 days away from game one. Still no news on the quarterback yet, and Ryan Day's been playing it pretty close to chest. I mean, he's not really been given a whole lot away. And I think what he's doing is he's having his players do the same thing. Because I know Jeremiah Smith said that he came out and said that, I mean, both guys are competing equally, and it's fun. And I want to get out there and compete day one. He turned it back to like on himself. So I wonder what the controversy is there. I wonder what he's trying to hold so close to him that he's not letting any of that slip out. But again, my money's on saying I don't think anything is going to change there. Um, but there's not a whole lot of news from Buckeye camp right now, other than, and I know Giovanni and I were kind of talking about this a little bit, but so the allegations against Michigan, NCAA was doing their
Yeah.
investigation, and they finally came down with the hammer. And I ended up doing some research here because I was kind of like, I don't want to be. I'm not. I'm about as big of a Buckeyes fan as you'll see. I do know some people that are even bigger, like that. Just it ruins their whole week. I'm not going to say it doesn't make me mad when the Buckeyes lose. And in college football, when you lose one game, it is pretty impactful. It's not like the NFL. It's not like um,
NBA.
NBA, baseball, anything like that. Because one loss could definitely affect the outcome of the rest of the season. So the goal every year is to go undefeated. Now, losing to Michigan is obviously the worst thing that could happen every year. But I'm not one of those guys that is blind to it and thinks Michigan should be, you know, just I don't know. I try to see an unbiased side of it. But yeah, they're definitely the rival. Now, but here's my point to this is that I'm about to read you guys some stuff, and uh, I I know that when you put the money side on it, it seems like it is a big deal, the punishment that they brought down on them. But is it nowadays with NIL and all that stuff? I mean, you're bringing in guys for
that much money. One guy, right?
Yeah,
Bryce Underwood
easily.
is in there for $20 million, like one guy. And that was their big thing for Ohio State. Oh, Ohio State bought their roster and bought a national championship. Okay, well, that very next year, you paid one guy the same amount that we paid for an entire roster, and so did everyone else. So I don't want to hear it. Anyway, that was my little rant right there. So here we go.
Okay.
This would be 2008-9 season. If you remember, the Ohio State Buckeyes, it was Jim Tressel's last year of coaching there. He got he took the brunt, is what he did. He ended up retiring to save the program, which I know that sounds weird because he didn't do anything, but what he did was he basically said, "All right, give me all of the allegations and everything that's going to come down on these kids, and so that the next group of kids don't get punished as much." The people who were at fault here did get punished, but we'll kind of talk about that. So if you remember, the story is Terrell Pryor and a couple other guys. Terrell Pryor's the big name. Another one might be Daniel Herron. You might remember him. But they sold some of their memorabilia for services or product. Tattoos. They wanted tattoos. So Terrell Pryor comes in with his Big Ten championship ring, his Fiesta Bowl sportsmanship award, which is kind of funny, and his gold pants. He sold them for tattoos, along with some of the other guys who kind of did the same thing. They signed some stuff, some memorabilia, and they sold it. And so what the NCAA made them do was basically pay for the things that they sold. So like Terrell Pryor ended up getting a $2,500 fine, which would probably be how much you could probably sell or buy a Big Ten championship ring, a sportsmanship award, and some gold pants from beating Michigan. Then the team penalties are they had to vacate all wins from the 2010 season and the 2011 Sugar Bowl. All wins. It was a 12-0 season. They had a postseason ban the next year. They weren't allowed to play in a championship, even though they went undefeated the next year. They had a scholarship reduction. They lost 5 scholarships over the course of 3 years, and Ohio State was placed on a 2-year probation, meaning the NCAA could basically check in and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. The university, ultimately, Jim Tressel resigns, and the university is fined $100,000, which doesn't seem that much. Now, Michigan's punishment here for cheating,
$50,000.
no, it's more than that. Something far worse is because NIL now, these guys can do this regardless. Like you think about like Reggie Bush. They gave him his Heisman back because what happened with him was his parents were leasing a house from his soon to be agent, right? There's nothing illegal about that. But the NCAA thought it was illegal because he was making money when they thought they should be making the money. And so they ended up giving him his trophy back. Well, okay, so Michigan is actually cheating in order to win a national championship ultimately. If Ohio State wins that game, they might not be in the national championship under the previous college football playoff format. Now, financially, here's what they got hit with. They got hit with a $20 million fine with a base fine of $50,000. So
Right. Okay.
it's a base fine they'll have to end up paying. It ends up being 10% of the scholarships that are coming out of this next year. So 10%. They're pulling in so much stupid money and they're giving it out in scholarships. So, and then they'll be on probation for 4 years, which means the NCAA can step in and look at it. Really what this is going to do, what this penalty is going to hurt them for the future. Not as many, they're not going to get as many scholarships. They're going to have to pay more money if they want to use scholarships, yada, yada, yada. Some other restrictions, things like recruiting,
communication probation periods. There is no postseason ban like Ohio State got for selling some gold pants, and there is no vacated wins, including a national championship. Now, the NCAA comes out and says, "Well, but we'll really hammer Jim Harbaugh, who's a NFL coach now. He doesn't care. He doesn't care what happens to Michigan. He has a 10-year show cause order, and he's banned from college athletics until he does it. So it's like he's going to retire as an NFL coach. So Connor Stallions, an 8-year ban, same thing. Which, I mean, again, he was the dog in this. They just told him what to do. He was really good at what he did, and so he was just following orders like a good soldier, which he's a Marine. So Sharon Moore, who was the assistant coach at the time, knew exactly what was going on. Don't tell me he didn't know what was going on. Don't tell me he wasn't in on it. And that's what a lot of people are saying. Well, he wasn't the coach. He wasn't the coach. Doesn't matter. Sharon Moore gets a 1-game suspension on top of the self-designated 2-game suspension. So he's going to miss 3 total games. And what do you take a suspension against who they got this year? Bowling Green, somebody like that. You know what I mean? Like, and that was it. You know who got in more recent comparison, apples to apples, who got a worse punishment this year for suspension? Akron Zips for having bad grades.
Wow. Yep. I heard that.
So it's like, I know the NCAA puts all this money ban on it, but what they did was they made more money because now they're charging Michigan more money. So I don't know. It just seems here's ultimately when I listen to guys like Dave Portnoy, who's a big Michigan backer, and I listen to the people who are rah 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 Michigan, Ohio State, you're a bunch of whiners, that kind of stuff. What I see is, and now it's completely evident because the NCAA found enough to fine you and put all these restrictions. You cheated. Period.
Yeah.
That season will always be remembered as a season. It's got an asterisk next to it, and it will always have an asterisk next to it. The Michigans can say whatever they want to say. It has an asterisk next to it. So, all right, I'm gonna get off my high horse. Go ahead, Giovanni.
I gotta say that Michigan should have not won that championship because of cheating. They were 100% cheating. Could you imagine we would have a CJ Stroud Ohio State in the national championship? I mean, I get it with the playoff format back in the day. I get that. But at the same time, Jim Harbaugh, everybody from Michigan was cheating 100%. Michigan fans don't even care about this day. And I don't know. Ohio State is still mad at it, but we don't care because we won the championship 3 years later, but at the same time, we still bleed red and white. And we always go out with a big fight against Michigan every year. But at the same time, like, I think Michigan was 100% cheating over Jim Harbaugh, Connor Stallions, and the whole Michigan organization. They got the big hammer in that. I get it. Like, I get it that Jim Harbaugh will not be coaching it until 2038, but but Michigan got a big punishment from that. That's what I'm saying. Ohio State was robbed in the 2022 season. That's what I'm saying.
I'll say ultimately it's going to hurt their future, but it
Yeah.
didn't. It didn't make it any. I guess as an Ohio State fan, there are no reparations for beating us by cheating. Now, last year, I mean, with all this going on, I think we truly got our butts kicked. But there were a couple years there where it seemed like those 2 years back to back where we literally couldn't do. We had the better team, hands down, the better team, and we couldn't do anything. You mentioned C.J. Stroud, and you look at some of the other guys on that roster, like Jackson Smith and Jigba, and all those guys, and we couldn't do anything. Couldn't do anything against them, and yeah,
we were robbed.
that's where I get upset.
That was so.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not very biased when it comes to college sports, but at the end of the day, if you're going to cheat, and especially cheat in such a large fashion that you are legitimately like ruining games, you're ruining seasons for other teams and for your team. I mean, I get it. They may
future
not have
teams, yeah,
yeah, they may not have ruined their team at the time.
right,
They won the national championship, but how does that look now? I just feel like
Yeah.
at least the punishment that the NCAA could have given out was they could have done that where they, just disregard some of those wins from that season
yeah,
and combine that with the team probation, the scholarship cutting, the budget cuts, the coach suspensions, and a lot of those coach suspensions, like the Jim Harbaugh one, that doesn't really mean anything. But I think they also had a few other things with the staff where like Denard Robinson, who's a
yeah,
former Michigan player, he's out of his job now.
yeah,
And I mean I understand obviously probably all of the staff were aware of the cheating going on, but it just I don't want to sound like a cheater sympathizer here, but I wonder how it feels to be someone who was not if they were not aware of that going on, how that,
yeah,
leaves a stain on your
right,
accomplishments.
yeah. So let's say you're a player and you're taught your whole life cheating. You never win
Cheating's
with cheat.
bad.
Yeah, and so like they'll have to defend that championship the rest of their life. So
It's just a really bad situation. I feel like
I agree.
for everyone.
I agree.
Yep, it's gonna come back to bite us. One, but
Yeah. Well, boys. Anybody got anything else?
uh,
Yeah, I actually have one last thing to add. I know we talked about it a bit last week with our funniest things of the week with the Brian Dable 6'7", and we talked about it a little earlier, but I'm looking for the video right now. I don't remember exactly which game it was. Okay, so Red Sox and Astros 5 days ago. Um, there, someone hit a homer, and it was a 2-run homer that made the score from 4-7 to 6-7. The fans who caught the ball just started doing the 6-7 emote, and they started doing this or whatever. They're doing the 6-7 emote in the stands after they caught the home run ball. So that's just one thing I wanted to add.
It's a good
With the
one.
6-7 trend going on
Yeah.
right now.
Oh yeah. Where does that even come from? Like I know I've heard it.
It comes so there's an AAU team of like so the guy who runs it, he's a YouTuber, he's a celebrity. And so he has this team called Rod Wave Elite, which is named after a rapper named
Right.
Rod
I know who
Wave.
Rod Wave is.
And so they have this team called Rod Wave Elite, and it started from this guy. Well, they had asked him, they would say, "How tall are you?" And he would go, "I'm 6'7", or he would go 6'7", and he would do the hand motion. And so people would make edits with this song. I don't know what the song's called, but it just people started doing it with that song, and then people started making edits of LaMelo Ball because LaMelo Ball is 6'7", and so that started a thing where, and now it's gotten out of hand with the brain rot
Yeah.
behind the 6'7".
Well, now I know. So
The guy who made the meme has invented 6'7" water that they sell at the games. It's ridiculous.
it's like meme coin. Yeah.
Brian Dable probably went viral like a week.
Yeah.
But
right.
that is absolutely crazy.
Yeah. All right, boys.
All right, I think Giovanni has something he wants to
Giovanni,
add.
wrapping us up.
Yep, and then I got one final thing. I
All
know
right. Hit me with it.
This NBA. The NBA is bringing back the classic jerseys to a couple teams. The Sixers are bringing back the Sixers classic jersey
Mhm.
with the little thing with the little star on the
The
eye.
Iverson era.
Oh, the
jerseys.
black jerseys.
And
Yeah.
then bringing back the green jersey for the Dallas Mavericks with the white Dallas.
I like those ones.
And then the Cavs are finally bringing back a
I saw
classic jersey from the 2000s, you know, with the blue.
so long ago. Yeah.
Navy blue.
Yeah.
The
Cavaliers.
It was the LeBron right before he left for Miami.
Right, the Timberwolves are bringing back the Kevin Garnett jerseys, like the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
thing.
With the
The black ones.
the pine trees around
Yeah.
the trimming.
The
Yeah,
black ones.
and then
I
the
think.
Grizzlies are bringing back the blue, pink little jersey thing.
Mhm.
It's on the jersey, and then it says Memphis on it. But anyways, I think these classic jerseys are really, really back in the NBA for this season. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we were talking about it earlier. Like, if it was the best looking jerseys, a
Yeah.
lot of those early 2000s jerseys
Yep.
would definitely be making the list.
Yeah. I think there's
So
some
that's
baseball ones too. I mean, like the Devil Rays jerseys, those are good ones. The Expos, the Diamondbacks, yeah, that was a good one. The Reds, they had the cutoff sleeves. Those were sweet. Could you imagine? Like some of those guys, they were in there doing like curls before they went up to bat. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's cute.
All right, boys.
I mean, the 2000s and the 90s were crazy era. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, not that old, right? All right. Anything else for the good of the order?
No.
All right, boys. It was a pleasure. We'll catch you guys again next week. We'll get to see what the Browns are looking like and who's our starting quarterback for them and the Buckeyes, and if the Guardians can get out of this slide. But it was a pleasure. So
Yeah.
remember,
it's not always about being right.
it's not about being
It's about
right.
being confident.
Confident.
Just
Yes,
let them
sir.
think you're confident. Here we go. See you next time.